Welcome to a brand new wave, drowning out the noise that's tame. Liberty whispers through the brave, breaking free from every chain. Nullify the rules they crave, crypto beats that pave the way. Anarchy with minds that safe, algorithms new dawn today. Out of bounds and out of sight, building futures pure and bright. Escape the grip and win the fight. Welcome into the legacy ride. Beyond control we take a stand, casting off the iron brand. Freedom flowing through our hands, revolution's our command. Decentralize the way we plan, all together we expand. Breaking shackles for the clan, in this journey we're unpanned. Out of bounds and out of sight, building futures pure and bright. Escape the grip and win the fight. Welcome into the legacy ride. A wound that healed but never fades, a beast with heads where shadows wait. Crowns of thorns, crowns of gold, stories written but never told. Do you see, do you hear the whispers crawling near? They rise, they fall, they fade to be. The truth in lies, the mystery. I know their works, I know their names. Bow down to none, the fire remains. A synagogue of hollow stone, wolves and robes, the seeds are sown. The serpent speaks with a silver tongue, a choir of curses unsung, unsung. Do you feel, do you hear the reckoning drawing near? They rise, they fall, they fade to be. The truth in lies, the mystery. I know their works, I know their names. Bow down to none, the fire remains. They rise, they fall, they fade to be. The truth in lies, the mystery.
Hey guys, I was on a group on Facebook earlier, and it was talking about old pictures of Northern Kentucky, and I came across this page about it's called the Keegan Murders, and we're going to talk about it today in today's episode. So let's get into it, guys. Hey Zach, what's going on?
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I just work here.
What's with the sadness in your voice?
Well, I mean, it's kind of a tragic thing, and I never heard about this stuff before,
It
so
happened in 1943, dude. You weren't
I
alive.
know. Oh, I know. I'm just saying. I mean, it's just during World War II, so I don't
What,
know. It's
what
just
about
something interesting.
what
It's
about World
Halloween
War II?
time. This
You're
is
not
during
one of
World
those
War.
people. You're not one of those people that try to empathize, put yourself into a historical event that has no bearing for you to even be there, are you?
I'm not
I
trying
mean,
to. I was just saying it was the era that it happened.
I mean, evil shit occurs.
It does.
I mean,
Well, you
I
wanna?
don't know what else. I don't know what else to tell you. So I don't know what else to tell you.
I'll tell you this much. I was out of place. Let's get into it. This is from the Chronicles of Boone County, Kentucky website called the Keeger Murders. And I'll go ahead and read it for people that are just listening. It says in Boone County, Kentucky, the Keeger family is well known, or most well known as the events that took place on August 17th, 1943, at Rosegate, a farm. Nearly 70 years and several news articles, a book, and two plays later, speculation and controversy still swirl around the night Carl Keeger and his 6-year-old son, Jerry, died. At the center of that notorious night was Carl's 15-year-old daughter, Joanne, who was later placed on trial for the shooting death of both Carl and Jerry. On the fateful Tuesday night, Carl and his wife, Jenny, along with the two youngest children, Joanne and Jerry, were asleep in their beds when someone shot and killed both Carl and Jerry, wounding Jenny in the hip. Joanne, unharmed, drove the family car to the neighbors to get help. When Boone County Sheriff Jake Williams arrived at the scene, the house was full of both Kent and Grant County officials. According to officials at the scene, the house was locked up tight with no evidence of intruders. Carl Keeger was considered a suspicious man and kept 3 pistols in the house, 2 downstairs in his study and one in his upstairs bedroom under his pillow. He insisted all the doors and windows of Rosegate be kept shut and
Empathy.
locked at night. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said. You're on mute. I'll go back to reading what I was reading. He insisted all the doors and windows of Rosegate were kept shut and locked at night, even in the heat of summer. Why was Keeger so paranoid about his family's secret? His family's safety? No one knows for certain. However, rumors had alluded to Keeger's mob connection to the vice mayor of Covington. After the deaths, $1,440 in cash was found in the house. That was a lot of it back then, especially during the World War. Uh, speculated have been slot machine payoff money. On December 14, 1943, the Boone County grand jury indicted both Joanne and Jenny Keeger for the willful murder of Carl and Jerry Keeger. The case was brought to trial in the Burlington courthouse on December 16, 1943. Joanne, now 16, was tried as an adult for the death of little Jerry, her mother to stand trial later. Although a motive was still debated, prosecuting attorney Vincent sought the death penalty. Joanne was defended by prominent attorney Sawyer A. Smith. Judge Ward Yeager presided over the the 5-day trial. During the trial, Joanne's tended.
Oh, you were not finished. Go ahead.
All right. During the trial, Joanne's tendency towards night terrors, very intense and seemingly real nightmares, were brought to life. Apparently, Joanne inherited the affliction from her father. The theory was that Joanne thought she heard gunshots in the house and was defending her against an intruder. Experts were brought in to testify whether or not the gunshots would have awoken Joanne uh, from from a from a dream state. Joanne testified that she fired at shadowy figures that she thought were shooting at her. It was shown that the gun that was used to kill Jerry Joanne gave to Jenny before leaving the house. Schiffer stated the defense hinged on whether the jury would buy and dismiss defense that Joanne was in her nightmare or in her right mind when she did shooting and therefore was not responsible. After a 4-hour deliberation, the jury found no proven motivation for the murder of Jerry Keeger. The 12 Boone County men found Joanne Keeger not guilty. As a result of the not guilty verdict, the prosecution dropped all charges against both Joanne and her mother. Without the first conviction, there was no motivation to try the other cases. In 1943, it was hard to conceive that a nice girl would kill her family. Carl Keeger's alleged political connections led to speculation that the mob killed Keeger and set Joanne up as the scapegoat for the murders. In the years that have followed the trial, the community has remained divided about Joanne's role in her father and brother's deaths. Fellow students remained adamant that Joanne would not have knowingly killed her family. Others firmly believe that Joanne was not as innocent as she seemed, that she got away with murder. In Boone County, the murders and subsequent trial remain one of the most discussed single events in Boone County history. Regardless of motives or guilty parties, one fact remains constant. The Keeger family was destroyed that night in August of 1943. Joanne Mary Keeger changed her name to Mary Kyler, I guess, and graduated from the University of Louisville with a degree in education. According to Schiffer, in 2012, she was employed by the Jefferson County, Kentucky public school system, where she was a guidance counselor. Her death certificate states, I'm almost done. Her death certificate states that Marie Kyler died of cirrhosis of the liver in April 1991 at the age of 64, and she donated her body to the University of Louisville. No,
I mean, besides the last part, I mean, which is kind of interesting. Everything else for that last paragraph, nobody cares. But yeah, you also sound like somebody from Kentucky when you can't pronounce Louisville correctly. It's
sorry.
Louisville. All right, that old Louisville. Why are you people in Kentucky kind of retarded?
Oh, I guess this just goes with the territory. Anyways, note, built in the 19th century, Rosegate Farm with its 20 acres was located in the little town of Devon, along Dixie Highway just south of Florence, Kentucky. The large 2-story house was demolished in 2005.
Devon was never really a town. Devon was really never a little town. Devon was always a tiny little census designated hole in the wall outside of what was at one time a very tiny farmer's town known as Florence, Kentucky. But I don't know why they said little town. Devon was never. It may have. Oh shoot, the Rosegate Farm. Man, you want to know what happened to the Rosegate Farm, man? Within the last 30 years, it's a bunch of subdivisions. Welcome to Florida. That's the scary aspect, everybody. The scary aspect is the murder of Boone County, Kentucky, from zoning and overpopulation and movement for jobs in the warehouse industry. No, actually, to be brutally honest, what actually helps on that is the expansion of the Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International Airport. So, but yeah, it's a warehouse. Boone County is just basically warehouse land, so it gives you lots of jobs.
Yeah, the airport certainly helped bring that in.
I mean, when the Florence Mall was first built, I'm gonna give you a little history on Florence. Actually, when the Florence Mall was actually first built, in like the mid 1970s, it was literally a mall in the middle of cornfields. There was nothing there.
And you know this from secondhand knowledge because obviously you wasn't alive then.
I know this from my mom, who's been to Florence Mall,
Yeah,
and
secondhand knowledge.
she would go to Florence. She went to Florence the first time she went to the Florence Mall when it opened. It was nothing but cornfields.
Well, I mean, I can say for certain that Burlington was very sparse in that way too.
Burlington was at one point. It really had, well, it has grown, kind of, but Burlington was the still is the county seat of Boone. But Burlington was, it's not now, but Burlington was the largest city in Boone County at the time. It
Hmm.
was the largest city in Boone County up until about like 1995 when Florence surpassed it.
Yeah.
And then it rescinded its city status and went to census designated status within the county at about like 2010. So they don't have their own local government. It's all through the county.
Well, I mean, not surprised.
But no, Burlington, the county seat, was the largest city up until the mid 90s.
Right.
Florence was a tiny little town. Devon is still nothing. Devon is just basically another part of Florence. But yeah, it's amazing the changes. But that's the real story of this murder. What modernity does to society. Um, you build up, and you build one mall, and the next thing you know, it's a gigantic warehouse city. Welcome to Florence, Kentucky, everybody. And speaking of, let's emphasize on these murders. All right. To emphasize these murders, you can support us for more interesting facts that we find on the internet about the
.com.
strange, yeah, the strange and the mysterious, and potentially retarded.
This picture, by the way, I want to make sure that I do say it. This is from what they went and got into the house, the police department and everything. When
The
it was
house
all.
is no longer there, by the way.
I realize that. Yeah, that's what it's the
I'm
reason that
letting them
the
know. Okay, I know you know that. I'm letting them know. All right, yeah, the house is no longer there. Obviously, as time entails, uh, not every house, not every old house ends up being able to sustain the times. So zoning gets into the way, especially if you're in Florence, Kentucky, and it's no longer there. So I'm sure it's a subdivision where it's at.
right.
So
Well,
yeah,
we got a video about this. Do you want to get into it?
I'd like to. I'd like you to shine your bald head first.
Here we go.
Okay, let's jump into it.
Sleep. You may constantly long for more of it, but some fear it because of the sleep terrors, hallucinations, and nightmares awaiting them. It's been said the worst nightmare is the one that continues after you wake
Can
up.
you turn this up a little bit?
For some who deal with sleep disorders, the true terror is waking up and realizing
There you go.
you've injured yourself or someone
Thank you.
else. Sleepwalking killers are rare, but they are a part of our history. In the 1870s, Simon Fraser was in bed with his wife. Their toddler was sleeping peacefully in the room with them. In the middle of the night, as Fraser was in a disoriented state, awakening from a nightmare, he threw their child against the floor of the room, and his son died. A grief-stricken Fraser stood trial for murder of his own child, and his attorney raised what's been called the sleepwalking defense, saying Fraser had no idea what he was doing and never intended to hurt anyone. The jury agreed. They acquitted Fraser, saying this was clearly something that was out of his control. But for some who claim to be sleepwalking killers, there's a fine line between the sleepwalking defense and outright murder. In the summer of 1943, a young woman from Covington, Kentucky, was accused of murdering her father and brother. The case still stirs up controversy and debate in eastern Kentucky because some folks believe the jury got it all wrong. Welcome
Do you
to
believe
Southern
that
Mysteries, exploring history and
there's a
mysteries of
yeah,
the
go ahead.
American South.
Do you believe that there is a defense for somebody who is sleepwalking
I
into a
was actually
murder?
about to, I was actually going to look that up. I was trying to pull up my on-screen keyboard, so I didn't type.
Oh
But
no, there's a defense for it. I'm asking you personally. There
I
is
mean,
a
it's
defense
the
for
first.
it. There is
It's the
precedent.
first I've ever heard of it. So
So, but do you believe personally that you are not culpable for your actions if you were in the midst of a
I mean,
sleepwalking escapade?
that does seem a little far-fetched to me.
Hmm. I mean, to actually outright go into, I mean, it does. It seems a little far-fetched because I don't know how you can lead into cold-blooded murder when it comes to sleepwalking. I mean, it sounds to me like there might have been some demonic activity, potential, or maybe oppression. Definitely sounds more like possession, maybe, or just a very, very uh, evil acting upon human being that wanted to murder her entire family and is trying to use and trying to brush off the culpability of her actions to something else so she could get away with it, which inevitably she did. I mean, as you read, right? I mean, um, but I, 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 I don't see how anybody could foresee that sleepwalking could be a true defense from culpability.
I mean, I
I mean,
think that
maybe in certain
the
in certain
insanity,
situations, maybe, yeah,
temporary
but
insanity
it's
seems more appropriate than sleepwalking.
yeah, but at the same time, I mean, it gets whitewashed down to the point where, like, what does that even mean?
I don't know.
Like, I could come over to your house and beat you with a hammer, Andrew, and then turn myself in and say I was insane, temporarily insane. I didn't know what I was doing. Of course, I knew what I was doing. I walked over to your house with a hammer in my hand. What am I going? I mean, nothing else with intent and evil in my heart. I mean, what else? Why else would I show up with just a hammer
Right.
and then you wind up dead? Of course, there's no defense for that. But a lot of people like to say that that's what's wrong with society in today's day and age. Any rebuts, nuance,
Well, I mean,
gay jokes?
if it was a woman, you just say they had PMDD. That's a pretty intense form of period.
No, if it was a woman, I would say that wasn't a woman. It was a trans woman, so it was a
Okay.
man.
Okay. Not very
They're more
strong, man.
aggressive.
I got it. Yeah.
Well, I
All right.
mean, definitely stronger than a woman. So
What is a woman?
I don't know what a woman is anymore, dude. I
Let's
don't think anybody knows what a woman is. I
let's
don't
get
think
back
women
into
know what a woman is.
yeah.
I'm your host, Shannon Ballard. This is the story of
Oh, we know
Joan
about-
Kiger, the sleepwalking killer of Covington, Kentucky.
No relation to the When we know.
In the summer of 1943, it was hard to imagine any front page headline that didn't feature a story about World War II. But that August, the story featured on the front page of newspapers across America was a shooting in Boone County, Kentucky. The vice mayor of Covington, Carl Kiger, along with his 6-year-old son Jerry, had been shot and killed in their summer home. Kiger's wife Jenny was shot in the hip and hospitalized in critical condition. The only member of the family to emerge from the home unharmed was the Kiger's 15-year-old daughter, Joan. As vice mayor of Covington, which is directly across the Ohio River from downtown Cincinnati, Carl Kiger was rumored to be in the grips of organized crime because the Chicago and Cleveland mob were active in Covington at this time. Kiger was said to be involved in racketeering, possibly a bagman, delivering cash to folks who were bribed by the mafia. This was never proven, but when word spread of the shooting at the Kiger summer home in Boone County, neighbors, even police, immediately assumed it was a mob hit because multiple weapons were used and the victims had been shot multiple times. It was a grisly scene. And if it had been a mob hit, the shooting would have been tragic, but not surprising. When the Kiger's 15-year-old daughter, Joan, was arrested for the crime, it sent shockwaves through Covington and across the country. Imagine the surprise when the public learned Joan was said to have shot and killed her father and brother, wounded her mother while she was awakening from a nightmare. Decades on, there are still questions and debate over what happened inside the Kiger's home in the summer of 1943. Now, before the Kiger shooting, the little community of Devon off the Dixie Highway between Richwood and Florence, Kentucky, was this quiet and peaceful place. That's why the Kigers like to escape Covington and head out to their summer home, Rosegate. The Kigers had 2 older sons who were in the military and away from home fighting in World War II. So it was Carl and his wife Jenny, along with their daughter Joan and 6-year-old son Jerry, who were staying at Rosegate that summer. The 2-story home was built in the 19th century and offered a prominent politician like Carl Kiger a place to unwind and relax, which was tough for Carl because he had become a paranoid man who kept 3 pistols in his house at all times. He kept 2 in the downstairs study, and the 3rd he always kept under his pillow. He obsessively checked doors and windows to make sure they were locked at night, even in the height of the summer months.
Yes.
I like to. That's interesting to note that there was possible mob activity involved in this killing. It actually sounds like it could have been. It sounds like it might have been a mob hit. I mean, you're talking about the vice mayor, summer home. You're a politician. Why do you need a summer home in Florence, man? Covington and Newport were at this point. We're at the height of the Chicago. She said Chicago. I didn't even know Cleveland. That makes sense. But the Chicago mob was heavy in this area. In fact, Hamilton, Ohio, in Butler County, Ohio, Hamilton was kind of the oasis of all of the Chicago families that would move in for all their activities in Cincinnati and across the river in Covington and Newport. They would live up north in Hamilton. Hamilton kind of got its thriving start as a mob neighborhood. And it would make sense. Newport obviously was prior to the foundations of Las Vegas and what it would become. Newport was the gambling capital of mobland of the country when it came to the mob. strip clubs, whorehouses, and casinos just lined up all across the river. I don't think the Newport levee actually truly existed, but that general scope along the river where the levee is now, like that was basically just nothing but whorehouses and casinos and bars.
Foreshadowing.
I mean, yeah, foreshadowing for the corporate structure that Newport on the Levee would become. But yeah. So, and there was a lot of corruption. Obviously, the mob had to exist through corrupting individuals and bribery, through bribery and manipulation and extortion, and I mean, public officials were on the dole. And if you double crossed the mob, you were a dead man.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh no, don't be surprised. There is no surprise. You were a dead man.
Yeah, well,
There's no surprise, Andrew.
everyone becomes a good politician at some point when you're dealing with a mob.
I mean, my grandfather was an attorney whose main clients were of the mob. He would actually head to I have stories where he would leave town and have a briefcase, obviously full of cash, that would have to be that was handcuffed onto his wrist as he was loading up to go across country. This was when obviously Vegas was a big place, but he was dropping off, funneling money back and forth for the mob.
No,
Yeah,
that's pretty wild.
it's pretty wild, man. All
Well,
right,
let's get
anything
back into
to
it, I
add?
guess. No, I mean, I think I've already said my piece there. My little rib.
Happy Halloween.
Right.
He hired locksmiths to install double locks in the family's home in Covington and had planned to do the same thing at Rosegate. That obsession with protection, trying to ensure no outside force could gain entry to the Kiger home and hurt someone inside, made people believe the rumors about Carl's mob connections were true. That's possible, but Carl Kiger also had a traumatic experience with burglars when he was 17. That trauma led to chronic nightmares,
I
which
want to
could
answer
also
this one
explain.
though.
Yeah, you're fine.
Going to my grandfather. I got to answer this. Not the first half, William, but the second part. Talking about the Supreme Court. Somewhere on the floor of the United States Supreme Court is residue, dried up residue of cocaine out the nostril of my grandfather. He argued a case, won it after doing a whole bunch of cocaine before he went into court, and he argued his case with cocaine in his notes, and some cocaine residue allegedly fell from his nostrils while he was arguing the case. He argued and won a case in the United States Supreme Court while high on cocaine and with cocaine in his nose still.
Cocaine and cocaine accessories.
Yeah, I guess. I just had to say that.
It's all right. Here we go.
Why he slept with a revolver under his pillow and added nails to the window frames to ensure no one could force a window open.
You can look it
Carl
up.
Kiger never imagined the greatest
Robert
risk to his family was already inside that house. On August 16th, 1943, the Kigers hosted a party at Rosegate to celebrate their 24th wedding anniversary. After their guests left, they prepared for bed, and Carl Kiger double-checked the house was all locked up and the windows were closed and secured. Just before 1 a.m., one of the Kigers' neighbors, Mr. Mayo, heard Joan Kiger screaming for help. She was yelling that her mother, her father, and younger brother Jerry had all been shot.
Welcome, Terry.
The Mayo's home was near Rosegate, so Mr. Mayo and his 19-year-old son, Robert, quickly made their way to the Kiger home, where Joan kept reminding them to be careful because the intruder could still be in the house. Mr. Mayo later admitted he was terrified to enter that pitch black house, but he pushed through the fear because he knew Carl Kiger and his family, and he wanted to help if he could. Mayo handed a gun to his son Robert as they entered Rosegate and told him to stand guard at the front of the stairs. He told Robert to shoot anyone who tried to escape that house, and then Mr. Mayo walked upstairs. He turned the light on as he entered the Kigers' master bedroom. He saw Mrs. Kiger lying on the bed next to her husband Carl, who was clearly dead. Jenny Kiger was bleeding, and Mayo noticed she was holding a gun. Jenny said Joan handed the gun to her before she fled the house to get help. Mr. Mayo tended to Jenny's wound to help control the bleeding and told her he was going to check on their son, Jerry. He moved on to open the door to 6-year-old Jerry's room and found the child taking his final breaths. Mr. Mayo called Covington Police, the local county sheriff, and state police to come to Rosegate. By the time police and concerned neighbors made it to the home, there were nearly 20 people inside Rosegate, which made for a chaotic crime scene. When police sat down to talk to Joan, she told investigators an intruder wearing dark clothing had woken her up, and she fired several shots at the intruder in front of the doorway to her parents' room. She explained she put the revolver on the floor because she couldn't pull the trigger again. She then heard her brother Jerry crying and walked to the landing near the stairs and fired shots at a shadowy figure standing over Jerry in his bedroom. When Boone County Sheriff Jake Williams arrived at Rosegate, he joined fellow investigators in search of any sign of an intruder. All of the doors and windows were secured, and there was no sign of a break-in. Authorities continued their search of Rosegate and found something pinned to the back of a sofa that seemed very suspicious. An envelope with $1,440 inside. That was a lot of cash then, but today it would be the equivalent of $22,000, which is why police believe the money was linked to illegal gambling associated with organized crime. Then there was the question of the guns. They knew Mr. Kiger had 3 pistols. Joan said she had fired all 3. She left one with Mrs. Kiger, but police searched the home and didn't find the other guns. It was Mr. Mayo who found them. He was standing in the kitchen when he looked out the back window and noticed the trap door over the cistern out back was open. He grabbed a flashlight, looked down into the cistern, and saw a little glint of metal. Police moved in and recovered 2 pistols from the cistern, one empty and one with 4 empty shells. They also recovered 6 empty shells on the bottom of the cistern. Carl, Jenny, and Jerry Kiger had been shot inside their locked home. Sheriff Williams had no evidence of an intruder, and the only person who wasn't injured admitted she had fired all 3 guns. 15-year-old Joan Kiger was arrested and charged with murder. Prominent Covington attorney Sawyer Smith defended Joan, who pled not guilty the day after the murder. She was held at the Boone County Jail without bail, but the judge did order police to take Joan to see her mother, who was recovering at the hospital. Jenny Kiger hugged her daughter and told police that before she heard shots, she heard Joan screaming that a crazy man was in the house and he was going to kill all of them. And Jenny said she wasn't too surprised by that shouting because Joan had dealt with nightmares for years. Jenny said she shouted back to see if her daughter was having a nightmare. But moments later, shots were being fired, and she was struck in the hip. She fell down on the bed and decided to play dead, hoping she wouldn't be shot again. Joan Kiger was returned to jail, but Sawyer Smith petitioned the court for bail, and eventually it was granted. Joan went to stay with her Uncle Fred, and her mother Jenny joined them when she was released from the hospital. Months later, there was an unexpected development in the case when Jenny Kiger was arrested in connection with the murders. On December 14th, 1943, the Boone County Grand Jury indicted Joan and Jenny Kiger for the willful murder of Carl and Jerry Kiger. The prosecutor was honest with the grand jury, telling them he wasn't sure who the shooter was. It could have been Joan or Jenny, but he claimed the state could prove malice aforethought. Joan's bed had not been slept in prior to the shooting, yet she told Mr. Mayo and the police she had been awakened in her bed to an intruder. And there was a critical statement from a witness who testified Mrs. Kiger told him she asked her daughter to, quote, go downstairs and get the money and the will and bring them to me just after the shooting. Why would Jenny Kiger care about a will and some cash when her husband was dead beside her in her bed, her son was dead in his room, and she was bleeding from a gunshot wound? Mrs. Kiger never confessed to making that statement or any involvement, but the state did have a confession from Joan Kiger, who admitted to firing the weapons. The Commonwealth wanted to try Joan and Jenny for the murders of Carl and Jerry, but felt they could make the best case against Joan for premeditated murder. By the time she was indicted, Joan Kiger was 16 years old, which meant she stood trial as an adult in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. The state of Kentucky had no clear motive, but they sought the death penalty when Joan's trial began at the Circuit Court in Burlington, Kentucky on December 16th, 1943. The Kiger's eldest son, Marine Lieutenant Joe Kiger, was a gunner's mate and away on duty at the
Welcome
time
home.
of the murder.
Yeah.
What you got anything to say about Burlington?
This is Thomas Massey's district, by the way. But this is way before he was born.
Yeah, but you almost said. I almost thought you were going to say his home, though. His home is actually not far on the other side. It's actually not far from Portsmouth, Ohio.
I just said district, but I mean,
Yeah, it is part of the same district. Yeah. Burlington.
See, there's Steve Dark Secrets there. Don't listen to anybody. Well, listen to this.
He was granted leave to return home and support his mother and sister during the trial.
What?
I said, Burlington's kind of on the liberal side.
Yeah, I know. It's eccentric.
It is eccentric. They're very
Defense
liberal.
attorney Sawyer Smith
But they
started
do
the
vote for
trial
Massey.
by petitioning the court to dismiss all charges against Joan, saying she had suffered from a nightmare when she shot her father, brother, and mother. He told the judge the high school student didn't need jail time. She needed treatment and, if necessary, hospitalization. Commonwealth attorney Raymond Vincent protested, saying the sleepwalking defense was hogwash, and demanded the trial move forward so Joan could be found guilty and sentenced to die by electrocution. The judge denied Smith's petition, and Sawyer Smith went to work to try to save his client. the defense began by establishing how common nightmares were in the Kiger home. Mrs. Kiger took the stand and testified about her husband's nightmares in which he thought robbers were after him. Joan's nightmares had been shocking to Jenny Kiger because they started in recent years when Joan was, quote, transitioning from girlhood to womanhood. But Jenny Kiger said she had become accustomed to her husband's nightmares after 24 years of marriage. At that point, she broke down in tears, explaining the night before her husband and son died, the Kigers had celebrated their wedding anniversary. Other relatives testified they knew of Carl and Joan's nightmares and were unified in their belief there was no motive for Joan to hurt anyone in the family. Sawyer Smith's defense relied on the jury believing Joan could have shot her family while experiencing a nightmare. The Kiger family physician and a psychiatrist testified that it was entirely possible Joan was in that state, experiencing a nightmare when she killed her father and brother. The testimony of expert witness, Dr. George Sprague, was critical. Dr. Sprague was the director of High Oaks Sanatorium near Lexington. Joan was sent to that sanatorium for evaluation in the days following the shooting. Smith asked Dr. Sprague to answer the complicated question of how Joan could have shot a gun in the middle of a nightmare. The doctor said Joan was not in a normal waking state. He explained Joan suffered with nightmares for years, and in those nightmares, just like her father, she saw robbers. Dr. Sprague told the jury that consciousness was not the same in a nightmare as when a person is awake. You pay more attention to your internal mental state rather than external things because you see what's in your mind rather than what is going on around you. Dr. Sprague explained that if Joan fired the fatal bullets while hallucinating that robbers were harming her family, her nightmare would have been aggravated or possibly intensified by the sounds of the gunshots. She would have expected to hear gunshots because she was firing a gun to protect her family, which would explain why the shots didn't bring Joan to a fully conscious state. The Kigers' family doctor, Dr. Ertel, testified to his knowledge of Joan's nightmares that had plagued her for years, but clarified he treated her father for the sleeping disorder, but had never treated Joan for nightmares. Dr. Ertel did speak of his concern when he was called to Rosegate to tend to Joan the night of the shooting, saying Joan seemed to be somewhat dazed, swaying back and forth as she sat down beside him, and she was talking to herself. Sawyer Smith asked if Dr. Ertel believed Joan needed treatment. His reply was that he felt that way the night of the shooting because she seemed out of sorts. He was concerned about her, but he wasn't given the chance to help her because of all the commotion at the crime scene. Neighbors also testified that on several occasions, they heard gunshots, and when they went to check on things in the neighborhood, they found Carl Kiger in his backyard firing shots up in the air. They said they would guide him back into the house because it was well known by everyone in their neighborhood he suffered from nightmares. Sawyer Smith asked the jury if Carl Kiger didn't wake up when he fired shots in his nightmares, why would you expect Joan to? Joan Kiger had the chance to tell the jury what happened in her own words. She testified she was sleeping, and just before midnight, she was awakened by a gunshot. Joan said she thought she heard her mother call for her, so she got up and went to the door and saw a shadowy figure standing in the doorway of her parents' room. She thought someone was robbing or hurting her dad, So she went downstairs to get his guns. She returned upstairs, and as she looked into her parents' room, she claimed she saw a man choking her father in his bed and immediately shot at that man. And then she heard her mother tell her to check on her brother. When Joan approached Jerry's room, she said she thought she heard a noise and fired into the room to help Jerry, to protect him from the man standing over him. Joan said that's when she felt her mother shaking her and asking her if she had another nightmare, asking if that's why she shot them. When Sawyer Smith asked Joan how she felt about her father and her brother Jerry, she said she felt protective of them and had no reason to kill them. As Smith wrapped up his defense, he played to the patriotism of the era. World War II was on, and Joan's big brother Joe was sitting in the courtroom in his Marine uniform. Smith turned to the jury and asked if they wanted to burden a soldier with the weight of his 16-year-old sister being sent to prison and sentenced to death for a crime she wasn't responsible for. He said Joan should be found not guilty and assured the jury if they made the right call, Joan's medical treatment would be taken care of by her uncle Fred Williamson, who had taken in Joan and her mother after the shooting at Rosegate. Before Commonwealth Attorney Raymond Vincent began the arguments for the prosecution, he had the headboard of 6-year-old Jerry Kiger's bed brought into the courtroom. It was placed right in front of the jury, along with photographs of the crime scene and the 3 pistols used to shoot Carl, Jerry, and Jenny Kiger. Vincent made it clear he didn't believe this sleepwalking defense and asked that the jury not fall for it either. He said Joan Kiger should be found guilty and die by electrocution for the cold-blooded murder of her father and brother, and he could prove it. Vincent reminded the jury that Joan had testified under oath that she fired from a landing at the top of the stairway at a robber who was standing over her brother, trying to hurt him. Raymond Vincent pointed to 3 bullet holes in the headboard and used a pencil and some sticks to show the downward path of the bullets, which had passed over Jerry Kiger as his killer was firing at him. Vincent said Joan's version was a physical impossibility, explaining to the jury it was impossible for Joan to be standing where she claimed to stand and shooting at what she believed to be an adult intruder standing over her brother in his bedroom, and instead directly shoot her sleeping brother multiple times. Vincent directed the jury to Mrs. Kiger's odd instructions to Joan, the witness who claimed Mrs. Kiger had sent Joan downstairs after Carl was shot and killed and asked her daughter to get his will and the cash she stashed at the back of the sofa. Vincent also pointed out a small detail he felt should matter to the jury. He noted that in previous statements, Joan Kiger and her mother Jenny referenced intruders in the house. But throughout the trial, as the women testified, they mentioned robbers in the house. Vincent claimed this inconsistency showed the women weren't telling the whole story and were picking and choosing what they shared about the shooting. And throughout the trial, Joan Kiger remained quiet and stone-faced. Raymond Vincent pointed this out, literally pointed to Joan and said there was a coldness to her that should concern everyone. He reminded the jury that 8 shells were identified as having been fired from one of the guns that Joan said she threw in the cistern. He asked this of the jury: if I am shooting somebody and I unload the gun and then go and get another gun and load that one, how long does it take before I show malice? Vincent looked to the jury and again pointed to Joan and said she was determined that Carl Kiger would never get out of that bed And little Jerry Kiger died because he was old enough to talk, and she couldn't risk him revealing what really happened in the house that night. Vincent closed by telling the jury, a good woman is a wonderful thing, but a mean woman is cold and calculating. He asked if they had seen any tears from Joan, because he hadn't, which told him that when she shot her family, she was like a cat going after its prey, getting those pistols and firing them. Vincent then leaned in toward the jury, raised his voice to make his final point. If Joan Kiger had a nightmare, she did some awfully good shooting. It makes no difference if you want to turn her loose and just let her have another nightmare. The one thing Vincent could not present to the jury was motive. There was never an explanation of why Joan Kiger would or could, with malice and aforethought, murder her father and brother and shoot her mother. Before the case was handed over to the jury, the judge instructed that 3 verdicts were possible. Joan could be found guilty of murder, that she willfully and with malice aforethought murdered Carl and Jerry Kiger. The jury also had the option to return a verdict of voluntary manslaughter, that the deaths occurred in a sudden heat of passion. The last option was that Joan could be found not guilty due to being unconscious or nearly unconscious, that she did not comprehend her own situation or supposed at the time she did the shooting that she was defending members of her family who were being attacked. Jury deliberations began on December 21st, 1943. Inside the courthouse, they would have heard the high school band playing Christmas carols on the lawn of the courthouse as a large crowd waited for that verdict. When the jury returned nearly 4 hours later, the verdict was not guilty. Joan Kiger simply said, "I am very glad," and then turned to her big brother, who kissed and hugged her and celebrated with their relatives. Following the verdict, Raymond Vincent said the state offered all the evidence they had. As he put it, the jury was trying a young girl, and evidently it didn't want to send her to prison with hardened criminals. And that's why the jury turned her loose. But the jury talked to reporters and made it clear their decision was based on the prosecution never presenting a motive. Vincent claimed Joan was a cold-hearted killer who deserved to die for her crime, but he never explained why. One juror said that when it came down to it, they thought maybe Joan had done this negligently, but they did not think there was malice. They believed she did it just as lawyer Sawyer Smith said, that it was while she was asleep or had just awakened. Joan was acquitted, but not immediately free. She was institutionalized for 1 year. Jenny Kiger remained in Covington and would take a job at a department store. When Joan was released from the institution, she moved to Louisville, where she built a new life for herself under a new name. Her alias was Marie Kyler. She graduated from the University of Louisville with a degree in education, dedicated her life to teaching and serving as a guidance counselor. A majority of Joan's relatives did not know her whereabouts or her new identity until she died of cirrhosis of the liver in 1991 at the age of 64. Joan just sort of disappeared. She was that family member you just didn't talk about. The shooting at Rosegate in the summer of 1943 has been compared to the O.J. Simpson trial of 1995 because of the nationwide coverage and the verdict that is still debated and considered controversial.
Real quick, I want to draw a different comparison. This really reminds me of an Amityville
Well, I
horror
think
case.
we're pretty much done. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, we've got the bulk of the story. The rest is just closing out. So let's close out then, Andrew.
Yeah. I really think it reminds me of the Amityville horror story, like I was just saying. It's a very similar setup. Family's asleep, and then somebody comes in allegedly from outside and just takes everybody out. But I mean,
Yeah,
do you have any other comparisons maybe you can make?
that's a good comparison. Another comparison historically would be the Lizzie Borden axe murders of her
Yeah.
parents. Another one would be trying to think of the town, but it was in Iowa. But it was an Iowa axe murder. Family, literally, just family and a couple of the children's friends were all asleep in the house and they didn't wake up. Let's just put it that way. Very very brutal, heinous murder. That probably makes you wonder why everybody in our modern day and age locks their doors. Because in that time frame, nobody locked their doors, especially when you're out in the middle of nowhere in Iowa. Town's not that far, but because that's still to this day, like nobody. I don't think anybody was caught for that murder.
Yeah.
I mean, but regardless, there's still questions with the Lizzie Borden case. Did she actually do it? She was inevitably acquitted, but was she what was she just the closest to blame and she really didn't do it, or did she actually do it, or if she didn't actually do it, who did? I mean, there's questions tossed up in the air. So, I mean, you can definitely bring comparisons to this slaying, but in retrospect, uh, I would go head on and say, let's not compare though, because this is a different scenario.
It
We shouldn't
is.
be comparing it because uh, this is heinous in its own regard. I mean, a family was literally slain, and for what we do not know. Why? There's multiple reasons of what they've given, right? So what could be the cause? Who were? I mean, were there enemies? Was it just internal strife? Was it just temporary insanity? Who knows, right? So the fact of the matter is like evil persists and evil occurs, and the only way that you can stop evil is what, Andrew?
Is you can reform the way you bring up your kids.
Oh, I like
As
that.
I mean, just picking up some of the psychology
Yeah,
here. I mean,
yeah,
that's what's obsessed with security, right? I mean,
yeah.
that's a type A challenger and pretty angry, father figure,
Hmm.
somebody who's growing up and they're paranoid, probably from the anger that they had to absorb all those years and to take it out as a form of revenge.
Yeah, I mean, psychologically, that is a very, very good explanation, psychologically
PTSD.
speaking. And then realistically, uh, from my perspective, because I'm actually going to take this from very early on into the story, because I really think this there's something more to this. And you had the patsy that fell straight into their lap. Don't get in business with the mafia.
Yeah.
Sorry, this has mob written all over it, man. 30s, early 40s mob. This has Chicago mob written all over it. Most violent mafia. I mean, they meant business. You didn't fuck with the Chicago mob.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
So,
I don't think anybody
uh,
is.
in fact, I didn't when the commission was formed. didn't the Chicago Mafia actually get disbanded from the commission, from the families in New York, because they did their own thing? I think
Yeah, I
they
believe
did.
so.
They did their own thing. They ignored the rulings from New York and just did their own thing. It's like, nah, man, this is our territory. Like, we're in Chicago. What are you gonna do? You're in New York. Like,
I
this is
mean,
how we gotta run. This is how we run things. This is what we gotta do. And if anybody double crosses us or snitches or whatnot, you're done. But they were going a
I
little
mean,
too far than what the
yeah.
commission wanted you to do.
I mean, Cincinnati, greater tri-state area is considered like just an extension of the Chicago area in their territory. So,
I mean, not really. Talking about the extension of the rails, the old canals, and then eventually the rails between Cincinnati and Chicago. Porkopolis,
it's something like that.
Porkopolis. It all started with sausage. Kind of want some ghetto now.
Man, you're making me hungry.
Mm.
It's been a long time since I gotta.
Mm.
Hell. Shall we
Well,
get out of here?
anything else more to say?
No, I'm getting hungry, man. I'm gonna go get something to eat.
I bet, man. Why don't you go get you got any Gleyer's Geta in your refrigerator?
No.
I know that you can get it,
Unfortunately.
Greg. You can get it in the store.
Yeah, but I'm in South Carolina now. They don't sell that stuff
Yeah,
down here.
I'm sure they do.
You have to order it and it's shipped to you. It's
I
expensive.
I guarantee you can go to Kroger right now and find Gleyer's. Just like you can go find a can of Skyline chili.
Yeah, you can get the chili. You can't get the ghetto.
I don't believe you.
Well, next time I'm out that way, I'll see if I can find a video of the sausage section and I'll send it to you. And I'll put it up on here, I guess.
I don't want to see a video of a sausage section, dude.
Okay.
I don't know
I don't
what the
think the
word.
audience
I don't know
sure.
what your brain goes to some nasty stuff. Why are you into sausages?
I mean, I'm from Greater Cincinnati area. Everyone loves sausage down that way.
Everybody likes to have a sausage party.
You could put it that way.
We have a video of a sausage. Screw Bitcoin.
I don't have.
Yeah, find a video. We're gonna take this out with sausage.
Hold on just a second. No, I don't have a video of sausage.
Find it now.
Good luck.
Well, what do you think, everybody? What do you think about this case? What do you think about this horrendous murder? What do you like about the history, the historiosity of everything that goes down? So, I mean, do I got to do it?
Do it. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe and leave a comment. What do you think? So, but other than that, Andrew, you find a video of us dancing sausage? How about a dancing banana?
I know there's. Never mind. I'm not gonna do that meme.
Oh, yeah, the lemon party. Who wants to have a lemon party? Don't do that. Would you like to have a lemon party? It's taking a while. I'm just gonna get on out of here. Happy early Halloween, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow on the World Blockchain Roundtable at 11 a.m. Eastern. Like and subscribe here on YouTube, The Legacy Ride, or check us out over on the Dragon Chain channel or on X
On Rumble.
Blockchain Round or World Blockchain Roundtable. No, not on Rumble. WBRT's not on Rumble. Go home, Andrew.
Bitcoin, baby.
Hey, yeah, this is Bitcoin. I'm back. The king of the rap shit. I'm back in this Bitcoin, baby. I'm back in this bitch. Flossing fast cars and rolling with my clique. The king of the rap shit, the real OG. Whack ass rappers got nothing on me. Bought another Lambo, 3 hoes inside it, 10 hoes in line, ready to ride it. It's Bitcoin, bitch. Keep the track bumping. Really on the plug. I got pies in the oven. 80 years old, and your baby mama fond of me. All she wanna do is smoke my broccoli. Private jets from Rome to Ibiza. Lisa, Jenny, Julie, and Maria. Every day I gotta give thanks. I got bitcoins in the bank. Bitcoin, baby. I'm back in this bitch.
Bitcoin, baby. Oh.
I'm a bad motherfucker.
Bitcoin, baby.
The king of the rap shit. I'm back in this bitch. Axe your grandmother. Verse 2, coming with the gin and the juice. Call me a drag, spit flame in the boot. I'm hot, like a thermos full of coffee. So hot, can't get the hose off me. It's true, I got the weed card and shit. I'm smoking like a motherfucking chimney, kid. Bitches love me, my shit's never whack. Tell these motherfuckers, Bitcoin's back.
Bitcoin, baby.
I'm a bad motherfucker.
Hot like hot coffee. Oh.
Axe your grandmother.
Surprise, motherfucker.
The king of the rap shit. I'm back in this bitch.
Get your hands in the air. Put your hands on the car. Put your 2 hands on the rock. Put your 2 hands on the rock.
Bitcoin, baby.